Welcome to the Municipality of Anchorage Zoning Board of Examiners and Appeals meeting for August 8th, 2019. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Ellen McKay.
Here.
Dale Smythe.
Here.
Stephanie Eicher.
Here.
Ken Ayers.
Here.
Dave Hale.
Here.
Monica Emerton.
Here.
Jonathan Lang.
Here.
And Tanya Hickok is excused. Thank you.
Second order of business on the agenda is approval of minutes. We have minutes for Thursday, June 13th, 2019. May I have a positive motion, please? Ms. Eicher and Mr. Smythe seconds. Are there any changes to the minutes that you have identified? Is there any objection to approval of the minutes? Hi. Mr. Ayers.
Through the chair, I was absent from the meeting, so I will abstain from voting on the minutes.
Mr. Lang.
Madam Chair, I was not seated on the board at that time, so I will also be abstaining from the minutes.
Okay. Anything else? Any objection to approval of minutes? If not, the minutes are approved, and we'll move on to special order of business. Are there any disclosures? Mr. Ayers.
Madam Chair, as I was absent from the last meeting, I will abstain from voting on the consent agenda items.
Okay. Same thing for Mr. Lang. Okay. Any other disclosures? Seeing none, then we are on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is all the matters before the board that do not require a public hearing, and they are considered as a whole without debate. So may I have, let's see, first of all, does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? No. If not, right, okay. Ms. Eicher has made the motion to approve the consent agenda. Mr. Smythe has seconded. Is there any objection to approval of the consent agenda? Seeing none, the consent agenda is approved. And we'll move on. No appearance requests, no unfinished business, nothing on the regular agenda, which brings us to the public hearings. So we have one case tonight, and it's a variance. And the sequence of action on a variance, according to Regulation 21-12-520, Chair will introduce the variance and explain the procedure to be followed. So this is the procedure. The board will hear and rule on any, case number and the name of the applicant shall be read into the record. The board will hear and rule on any objection to the sufficiency of notice. The staff will present a brief outline of the variance. Board members and the applicant may then ask questions of the staff through the chair. The applicant has a total of 10 minutes to present their case and may reserve time for rebuttal. Throughout the proceedings, the burden of proof rests upon the applicant to convince the board by a preponderance of evidence that the variance should be granted. Board members and the staff may then ask questions of the applicant through the chair. The hearing shall then be open for public testimony. Representative of groups have 5 minutes. Individuals have 3 minutes. Time is kept by the secretary. Display at the front will be green to within 1 minute of the time allowed, then will turn yellow. At this time, you should begin to sum up your testimony. At the end of the allowed time, the light will turn red and a tone will sound. All persons who testify may be questioned by board members, the staff, and the applicant. On the conclusion of the public testimony, the staff, followed by the applicant, shall have the right of rebuttal. The chair will close the public hearing and the matter will rest with the board. Any action of the board shall require the favorable vote of a majority of the fully constituted board. The fully constituted board shall include all members of the board, including vacancies not excused for conflict of interest. For a variance to be granted, all 8 standards must be met, and it would require 5 positive votes. Every final decision of the board shall clearly state on its face that it is the final decision with respect to all issues involved in the case and that the parties have 30 days from the date of mailing or other distribution of decision to file an appeal to Superior Court. With that, the case is case 2019-0095. The petitioner is Charles Gibbs. Is Mr. Gibbs in attendance? Yes, he indicates. Will the staff please describe the notice given in this case?
Thank you. On June 25th, 2019, a total of 277 public hearing notices were mailed. No public comments or community council comments were received.
Are there any objections to the sufficiency of notice in this case? Seeing none, will the staff then please present the case?
This is a request to allow an existing deck and an external stairway to encroach 3.2 feet into a 7-foot zero lot line private maintenance easement. The 7-foot easement involved in this request is on the south side of the petitioner's lot, and a 3-foot maintenance easement also exists on the north side of the petitioner's lot. Each pair of 7-foot, 3-foot easements provides a total separation of 10 feet between structures in the Silver Tree subdivision, which was required by the zero lot line setback requirements that were in effect at the time of platting and construction in 1985 and 86, respectively. Because the maintenance easements reflect the setbacks that are required in code, a dimensional variance is required. This case is very similar to case 2018-0103, in which the board granted a dimensional variance to abutting lot 29 for an existing deck and external stairway to encroach 1.6 feet into that lot's 7-foot zero lot line easement. That was resolution 2018-006. And it might be recalled that that meeting for case 2018-0103, there was initially, or towards the end, some confusion as to whether this private maintenance easement case should be referred to the planning board or at ZEBA, and due to the fact that the easements reflect the setbacks that were in code at the time, it's a zoning board of examiners and appeals matter. And so that's what we determined kind of between those two meetings. And looking at findings, A, the standard is substantially met. In ZEBA Resolution 2018-006, the board found that the Silver Tree subdivision was platted for zero lot line developments, but detached single-family homes were constructed at the time of the original build-out. The board found that this constituted an extraordinary physical circumstance. The facts of this case are substantially the same. B, the standard is substantially met. The door to the petitioner's home is very close to the 7-foot zero lot line easement and is located about 40 inches above grade. Therefore, if the variance is denied, the owner would be unable to access his home via this doorway because the stairway leading to the door would be considered illegal. This would be an undue hardship that would deprive the owner of the type of access that is available to most structures in the Silver Tree subdivision. C, the standard is substantially met. The hardship was not self-inflicted, as the encroachment appears to have occurred when the building was originally constructed in 1986. D, the standard is substantially met. Photographs submitted by the applicant show that there appears to be adequate space between the applicant's structure and the existing structure on abutting lot 27. In addition, due to the existing easements, the 3.2-foot encroachment will still leave approximately 6.8 feet between the applicant's structure and any adjacent structure that could be built on lot 27 in the future. There have also been no complaints from neighboring properties to date. E, the standard is substantially met. The requested variance is dimensional and will not allow prohibited use and would not change the character of the zoning district as a whole. F, the standard is also substantially met. There are no identified health or safety issues with the structure or proposed encroachment. G, substantially met. The standard is not applicable. H, finally, also substantially met. The requested variance is the minimum variance that would allow continued use of the existing deck and external stairway. With that said, the department finds that all standards are substantially met and therefore recommends approval of the variance subject to the conditions on page 4 of the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff by the board? Seeing none, are there any questions of the staff by the applicant? He indicates none. Okay, will the applicant then, or the applicant's representative, please come forward? And
Hello.
state and spell your name for the record, please.
Charles R. Gibbs, C-H-A-R-L-E-S, last name G-I-B-B-S.
Please present your case.
Well, I think Colin actually did a pretty good description of what's going on. And thank you for your help with the process, by the way, because I am not familiar with this. Basically, that's the way the house was built. That's the way I bought it. I'm trying to
Could
sell
you
the
speak
house
a little
now.
more into the mic?
Oh.
We need to record it.
That's the way the house was built. It was that way when I bought it. There's only 2 ways to get into the house, and that's the front door or through the garage. So if the front door wasn't usable, then you could only get into the house through the garage doors. I'm trying to sell the house now, and VA and FHA won't loan on a home that obviously has some sort of something that's not code. I think that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you. You have 9 minutes of rebuttal time. Are there any questions of the applicant by board members? Seeing none, are there any questions of the applicant by the staff?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone from the public wishing to testify in this case? Case 2019-0095. Anyone at all? Okay, seeing none. Does the staff have any rebuttal? There's nothing to rebut, but
No.
does the applicant have any rebuttal? He indicates not. Okay, so the public hearing is closed. The matter rests with the board. May I have a positive motion, please? Ms. Emerton.
Thank you. I would like to move to approve case 2019-0095.
And Ms. Iker, seconds?
Second, subject to conditions 1 and 2 on page 4 of the staff
Yeah,
packet.
thanks.
Would you speak to your motion, please?
I would. Yeah, I would like to, I intend to support my motion. I also would like to reference all of the findings by staff on page 2, 3, and 4 of the report as reasons why this should pass with the board.
Ms. Iker, anything additional?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I don't have any additional findings. I do recall, and I was on the board for case number 2018-0103, and as I recall, there was tremendous public support at that meeting from a number of homeowners in this subdivision that all faced the same problem. And so having certainly a fresh memory of that matter before us, and thank you to the staff for referencing that case and these findings. It's very helpful. I don't have any additional comments.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to chime in? Seeing none? Would you please vote? Okay, it's a clean sweep. Variance is granted. Okay, and that's the end of the public hearings scheduled for this evening. Reports, I don't have a report. Secretary, We would like to welcome Jonathan Lang as member of the board. Welcome.
Thank you.
Secretary, you're not going to tell us that we have a meeting? No committees? Made about any board comments? Okay, motion to adjourn? Please, Mr. Smythe. Ms. Emerton seconds. We are adjourned. Yay.